Indianapolis, the racing capital of the world. Since 1909, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway has been the undisputed pinnacle of the racing world. This is the place where legends are made and hearts are broken. This is the one race everyone wants to win. For the first time in its 54-year history, the SCCA National Championship Runoffs travels to Indianapolis. With nearly 1,000 entries in 28 different classes, the Runoffs is the biggest auto race in the world. It features the best amateur drivers in the country vying for the title of national champion. One legendary track, one epic race, one shot at glory. The SCCA Runoffs starts now. Welcome once again, everybody, to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. After the lunch break, it is time to get back to action for the final afternoon of competition in the 54th running of the Sports Car Club of America's legendary Runoffs. I'm Greg Creamer along with Jeff Lepper, Hayward Wagner down in pit lane. We'll be hearing again from Rick Benjamin and Dorsey Schrader as well. But right now, it is time for us to start setting up for the afternoon of action. And, of course, that means we are going to be coming right at you. Primarily here, we're going to start with Touring 4. And this is a class that, of the touring categories, Jeff, it's the least powerful, the least fast, all of those things. But that doesn't mean it's the least competitive. These guys are absolutely fierce, and it's a 40-car field.
And because of that low horsepower, low development, getting around this Indianapolis Motor Speedway course will be a challenge for these low horsepower T4 cars to get it done right here with our track map presented by Mazda. Down that front stretch into a very tight turn number 1, right-hander, over a bump and a transition into turn number 2, another tight left-hander. You try to get there as quick as you can. A quick sweeper in 3, hard braking into number 4, into that kink in number 5, and down in this multiple apex turn 6 and 6A onto Holman Boulevard into that hard braking zone. Really a quick left-hander, and then into the S's, turn 8, 9, and 10. You got to set up properly for those, because if you get behind, you're behind into turn number 10, which is the third longest straightaway from turn 10 to turn 12 onto the oval. It's a very harsh transition from the flat to the oval with a big concrete wall there on the outside. Turn 12, a hard curb on the inside into turn 13, out of turn 14, back onto that 3,700 long front stretch here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it has proven to be a remarkably challenging track. Everybody was wondering about it. You look at it on a map, you go, okay. But when you drive it, there's so much nuance to this place, so much variety of lines and corners, and so many sections of the track that you have to absolutely optimize, because you're getting into another section of track where you need to carry speed. It's really been reviewed as a tremendous challenge, and the guy who's so far topping that challenge is the defending champion and pole sitter, Oscar Jackson. He's out of Chino, California, in the Cow Club in the Jackson Racing BF Goodrich Tires Toyota 86, the number 46 machine, on pole last year. He and Jim Drago had a fabulous battle in that race, and then a late caution. They ended up finishing under caution. So, but Drago said, I don't think I had anything for Jackson anyway. It was just right there. Great opportunity here, though, for the 07 of Chiho, qualified on the outside of the front row. And he's in the Orica gear and Racekeeper Scion FRS. So those two semi-related brands looking very, very strong here. But for a little bit more on this class as the cars come onto the grid in the front straight, let's check in with Hayward Wagner.
Guys, one of the things to keep an eye on here is teamwork. You've got 3 cars from Dynasty Racing all running together. The third of those 3 cars, as they say in this sport, ventilated the block on qualifying on Thursday. They put a new motor in that car. It has 0 laps on it. So watch for those 3 drivers to work together and possibly try to protect the third member of the team.
Some kablamos, apparently.
Yeah, you build motors with a certain amount of smoke in it, and you're not supposed to let that smoke out.
And when it comes out in a big hurry like that, yeah, ventilated the block is a perfect way to put it. Cars going out 1 pace lap or safety lap here, and then we will be green for 19 laps of competition. I just want to talk about a couple of guys here, but I mean, second row, Darren Seltzer, the number 64 BF Goodrich Orica Gear G-Lock Scion. So we got 3 of those Toyota 86 Scions with their similar platforms, looking very strong here. He third in the Southeastern Conference this year, but starting 4th, one of the real legends in SCCA competition, the 38 of Don Knowles out of Pittsboro, North Carolina, in the North Carolina region, Phoenix, Hoosier, Hawk, and Mazda, the RX-8. He won his conference this year, and he won the Majors Points Championship. 8 wins, 5 poles for Don Knowles. This is his, I think, 19th start in the Runoffs, but he's been racing a lot longer than that.
He sure has, and the multiple platforms that he's ran here with the Mazda RX-8 in the T4 category. Had some good success running that car as well. But Hayward mentioned Dynasty Racing. Got to give a huge shout out to them as well, with BF Goodrich sort of pulling their club racing support, so to speak, moving on to other avenues for their tire platform. Still wants to support club racing. Peter Calhoun from BFG Michelin said, hey, we want to be there for you guys. They offered a small contingency here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the racers, and they gave Dynasty Racing the tire machine and balancer, so anybody running BF Goodrich tires can still get it serviced here. So that's really cool. Awesome. Got to give a huge shout out to BFG and Peter Calhoun for that.
Absolutely.
And of course, your top 3 on BFGs.
Absolutely. I mean, getting the job done. And you wonder, this is a big class in terms of number. Is it a deep class? Well, you've got guys like Scotty B. White, who's a 4-time podium runner here, 3 poles starting in 13th. You've got a national champion, somebody who earned one here this weekend, Ross Murray, of course, won the championship in T1 starting in 18th. And Lance Stewart, yes, it's been a while since his 86 championship in Showroom Stock B at Road Atlanta, but he's starting in 25th. This class is deep in talent.
It's stacked. It's a cheap and affordable class to run. And you mentioned Scotty B. White there. This is his first time running that Scion FRS platform, or Toyota 86, or even the Subaru BRZ. It's the same exact car, same platform, just different badging and how you want to run that car. But I think it's easier to count how many classes Scotty B. is not racing in here at the Runoffs, running T2, T3, I think T1 as well. So he's running every single one of the touring categories here this weekend.
Yeah, he just loves his club racing, and it shows. He brings a lot of different vehicles and wheels them all very, very well. And this has been a very busy one for him. But Oscar Jackson, it's going to be interesting to see these 3 cars up front, as you said, basically the shared platform. And then the Mazda, and then another of the shared platforms, the Scion, and then the Subaru of Jared Lendrum that qualified 6th. It was Kelly Zarni, qualified 5th in the 2014 Scion FRS. Tim Myers, who also had a good run to 5th in the Touring 1 category, has had some previous track time here in his G-Lock Mazda MX-5. Felix Borodati out of Madison, New Jersey for Phoenix Racing in the Scion FRS, another one of those machines, obviously pretty popular platform. And completing your top 10, the number 51, Raymond Blesson out of Londonderry, New Hampshire. He is coming up to the line now in his Mazda, along with Thomas Bernacki in his number 34 machine, We are ready to go. Beautiful field. Green flag flies. We are racing in the race for the medals in Touring 4 at Indianapolis. And look at that absolute fan out. People back behind them, Jeff, doing a little hunting.
Yeah, and Shiho went from the outside of the pole down to the inside, right in front of his teammate, trying to get that draft down to the inside to see if he can get on the inside of Oscar Jackson. He's going to push him out, and we've seen that in some of the other races here. Very touchy as people take him to the grass here at the start.
Yeah, the number 34 we were just talking about, Tom Bernacki and his MedStop Mazda MX-5 had to take the long road, which could have been a shortcut. He did a nice job of giving it up to make sure he didn't get any kind of a penalty out of it. But Oscar Jackson, as a result, and Chiho pretty aggressive there, floated wide, and Oscar, pretty savvy driver, recognized what was happening, checked up, and said, I'd rather be second than wrecked.
Yeah, exactly, and we've seen that all race long in the different multiple platforms here of that happening. As Oscar Jackson down to the inside, now. A little bit of contact there, just some side to side, a little rubbing, no thing there. There's going to be a huge hit there. You see the mirror flying off of Oscar Jackson, and Don Knowles backwards into the wall.
Well, wonder how bad, if any, damage is on that car, whether he just got tapped into a spin. Now he's got work to do. He's back on track, but he's lost about 20 spots at this stage. And somehow, after that contact, Chiho able to hang on to it. But Oscar Jackson, I think he's a little upset. Oh, and he taps him and knocks him right out of the way. Chiho, brilliant recovery, Jeff.
Yeah, good job there. You saw him turn that wheel back. You can see the gloves moving there, and we'll see if he can pop it back into gear, get it refired, and get going. A lot of times when you spin the car like that, it'll stall because you reverse the axle, and you got to try to get that restarted again as quick as you can.
Well, I think that all started with that move into turn 1 where Ho pretty aggressive, forced Jackson wide. I think that got Jackson's dander up. Oh, and a big spin right behind everybody. Jared Lendrum going wrong. And a number of cars taking evasive somehow Everybody able, it looked like, to avoid any contact. Don't know whether Lendrum got helped or which went off on his own, and somebody else off here over at the exit of 13.
We talk about over 40 cars here. There's Bedlam and Bayham. You see Derek Ambrose in that Mazda 3 as well. Cork Sport car makes a lot of parts here for that car, getting that Mazda 3 platform developed for T4 and also in the B-Spec categories as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was one of the most event-filled opening laps we've had here at this year's Runoffs. And I don't think they're done. Look at that big wobble suddenly and a huge save by Borodati. But boy, I'll tell you, they are pushing so hard, Jeff. And the question for everybody now is, Jackson and Seltzer have been able to open up a little lead of about 2 seconds back to the rest of the field. These people have to calm down if they want to have a shot at a medal here.
Yeah, it's going to be touch and go with what's going to happen with that contact as well. Of course, the mirror on Oscar Jackson's car pushed in a little bit. He pushed that back out and able to check it out there. But a good run here for the top 5 for Blethen in that Mazda RX-8, the highest placed Mazda so far.
And Chi-Ho has dropped right out of the top 20, as has Knowles. So that gives you an idea of you just get out of line a little bit here, you're going to get freight train. You get knocked off track or spun, you're going to lose a huge amount of ground. But right now, Seltzer qualified 3rd, and that BF Goodrich, Orica Gear, and G-Lock sign staying with pole sitter Oscar Jackson.
Well, and Kelly Zarni actually is the highest Mazda with that MX-5 Cup, I believe, that they're running there. I'm not sure. Here's a replay of the start. You can see everybody going wide, trying to get clear. Don Knowles a little sideways there, and there was that touch from Oscar Jackson. And Chi-Ho, what you said, just did that great job, superb recovery there. And I'm not sure if Chi-Ho got in the back of the 7, it kind of looked like there as well. So, man, this is touch and go here. That was actually Dickey, I believe, that got in the back of that.
Like I said, a very eventful lap. And Lendrum in that number 7 was so lucky because there was the whole field bearing down on him. And somehow they all managed to take some evasive action. There's a look at Janka running 2nd. And behind him, running way wide, is Borodati. Gathers it back up, but even though he actually ran a little shorter line there, you get no traction on that dirt and dust, and that's going to cost him dearly.
Yeah, no momentum down that straightaway. It just kills you there. And actually the highest, you talk about Janka there, that's the highest running Mazda, I apologize, Mazda MX-5 there, working his way up from 11th all the way to 3rd.
Yeah, well, with all the action that unfolded in front of him, he picked his way through beautifully and took big advantage of it as the field bears down now on turn 1 once again. Ooh, way wide there. I think is that the 02 of Kowalewski. Came by in 6th spot, ran way wide when he gathered it up. Some other cars had to give way. Couldn't catch the number of that
Scotty
car.
White,
That Scotty White got
Scotty
forced
White
wide.
down the dirt,
Yeah. Wow, this has been busy.
Yeah, the 02 Mazda MX-5 recovering from its earlier off there. There's the number 34, Bernacchi, and his Mazda MX-5.
Everybody's still unwilling to settle things down just a little bit. And then the 56 of Borodati. And of course, White, who had been up a little bit more as a result of that exit issue on turn 2 and being run out of room here, falls back just a little bit. Ooh, big move here. And that is again Borodati trying to come back up, slices down underneath, makes a nice move on Bernacchi.
Quick little slide job here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway down in as they enter the S's here. Looking back to the inside, it's Bora. Oh, gotta be careful there. Borodati does not want to get hit there. The number 34 Bernacchi kind of looking to the inside. Mazda versus Scion as they drag race down here to turn number 12. And those three Mazda RX-8 nose to tail, trying to see if they can get around.
Ross Murray, who I talked about being buried back in 18th, that silver machine, the number 74, he is coming after it and closing up some ground in a big hurry here. In the 22 of Tim Myers, those two guys raced each other in T1. Looks like they've kind of teamed up just a little bit. And Tim running a little wide there into 12. I think he got a little target fixation and overcooked it going in.
Yeah, you follow what you do and you see the braking zone. You're like, wow, I'm actually catching him. I'm catching him. Oh, wait, he's going to the dirt too. Oh, darn.
Yeah, sometimes you have to just drive your own line and make it work. But, boy, some fierce battling here. Up front, Jackson leads Seltzer by only 0.3 of a second. Zarni, though, back now about 3.2 seconds of that group. And he's got 3 seconds ahead over Janka. Behind Janka, it's just a war.
Yeah, and here's that battle for the lead now has been closing that gap down is Seltzer, and Darren's really wheeling that Scion FRS, the Toyota 86 of Oscar Jackson in front. Of course, Jackson racing from early Honda fame with his dad, the superchargers they made for the Hondas and now Mazdas, and just a good program there and trying to develop parts here for this Toyota 86 platform.
That's a car that has seen a lot of drifting duty, but hasn't had a lot of road racing experience. Started, I think, got its first road racing experience in Pirelli World Challenge with a great run in that category. So a lot of success for this Toyota 86 platform. Let's check in with Hayward down in pit lane. It's been a busy one so far.
Yeah, guys, Chiho just rolled behind the pit wall. I had a chance to chat with him real quick, and he colored this as just a racing incident. He felt like it was just close racing and a little touch that turned him around.
And apparently when it touched and snapped him around, something snapped when he went around. And that does happen. You put such loads on those cars suddenly like that.
Yeah, you're at 5,000 or 6,000 RPMs, which is revolutions per minute of that engine, and suddenly you're going to stop it and then reverse it and change that direction that quick. Something usually has to go.
Yeah, they're designed to take a lot, but not that. You can see there's Zarni, the black number 77, running fairly lonely right now. And as he runs out of frame, here comes that battle, the 20 of Janka being hounded right now, the 51 of Blethen. The 51 of Blethen got around him while we were watching that battle at the front. Nice run there. Blethen sneaking around Janka now and taking away that fourth spot.
Of course, the RX-8 running that Mazda rotary Renaissance motor versus the four-cylinder platform you see in that Mazda MX-5. So both Mazda power plants here in the T4 category, the lowest of our touring car categories, but one of the most exciting, as you saw just right there in the frame there, 3 wide as they were coming back down into turn number 1.
Oh, action-packed, no question. And guess who's just got back into the top 20 and is booking right now? A guy named Knowles. Now he sits 18th this time by, and he is running laps of 158.8. That is 3 seconds faster than the next 6 or so cars in front of him. He's coming.
Yeah, Ollie Nami looks like he's going to be a sitting duck, and then even.
And Ollie's got a tremendous amount of experience running this type of car. He was an absolute gun in the showroom stock category for years, too.
Yeah, that's where all of his national championships actually came from.
Yep.
In that showroom stock category. There's a E-Street Racing, one of the Jim Drago prep Mazda MX-5s, Tim Myers. 22.
Having a good run right in front of him, Richard Dickey in the number 71. That is, I think, an RX-8, so you're seeing a variety of different machines here. Here's Murray. That's that lead car, the silver machine right there. That is, I think, one of the RX-8s.
And Murray's all the way back in qualifying at 18th and worked his way up to 9th place, or 8th place now. Might be back in 9th here. Sorry, I didn't mean to call that for you there, Ross. He was in 9th and trying to prove me right.
Well, I'll tell you, it's great competition, no question, and that is the number 34 of Bernacki. They are having a heck of a duel. Bernacki down to the inside. Can Ross open that angle up just a little bit? He's trying to get a better run through 13 so he can pick the throttle up earlier and get a run down 14. And he's got to be kind of careful because Borodati in the 56, that black machine right behind him, is coming after him, and that's one of those Scions. We know they're quick.
It's awesome to see a T4 car, Ross Murray, shift that Mazda, and the flames come out of the back when these rotaries run so high with that. But look at the draft coming out of this, and then gets around him on the power move, but sticking to the outside is Borodati, and Ross Murray hard on the brakes down here all over the ABS into turn number 1.
And that was an interesting approach to that corner as well by the number 34 there, Bernacki. When he realized he was going to get past, he just went from inside way to the outside to try and open the angle up, and it worked. Oh, Murray dropping those lefts right as he was turning in on that exit curbing, and it got him completely loosened up. Lost a huge amount of drive, and here comes the number 34, Bernacki.
It looks like he missed a shift as well. You saw the flame come out there mid-shift, and then as he gets off the acceleration, that's just common practice in a rotary engine. Nothing to be afraid of there. As Bernacki had to get back on the binders, and that's going to hurt his momentum as well. So let's see what the 56 of Borodati can do, but he can't do it as he gets loose coming on to 6.
Every time you see opportunity, then they push a little too hard. The back end steps out, and you lose that crucial momentum. Again, these are very, very lively little cars, but they are a little underpowered for the weight, which makes them a class you better. Mid-corner, you better be rolling speed.
Yeah, Don Knowles, you see him just peeking through there in his Mazda RX-8, still running about 2 seconds quicker than the cars that he's mixed up in with. So if he can get a clear open lap, he's going to do amazing things. As there's a driving wide again on the exit of turn number 11.
Yeah, and right in front of Knowles now is Lance Stewart. So you've got a couple of former national champions running 13th, 14th right now. Knowles Or now, excuse me, that was Bernacki. Dives down to the inside. Saw the 30 on it. Knowles, of course, running a silver number 38. This is some great racing here. A little bit back in the pack, obviously, but just an absolute brouhaha unfolding.
And only 5 laps have eclipsed. Still, we got 13 to go. Sorry, 6 laps now, 13 to go in this race. So still not even to halfway with all the action we've had.
And once again, here comes down to the inside Borodati. And just that quick, you could see that the folks behind him realized he had a great run. Tried to figure out a little different lane to run here. Looking there, the 98. That is Fryer. Kevin up from 19th on the grid out of Falls Church, Virginia, Washington, D.C. region in a MX-5. Nice little pack action here. There's the 38 of Knowles.
Wow, he's just on a mission, too. You can see he's just trying to see when he can pick him off, trying to get through there. Bernacki and it looks like Borodati just still side by side there as they're trying to battle through.
And he is just looking right now for any way to sneak around the 98 of Fryer. He already was able to move by Lance Stewart. Even in traffic, Knowles is able to uncork some really quick laps, and that's just the sign of a hugely experienced driver. Oh, look at that. Way down to the inside on Fryer, but made sure he didn't go in too deep, that he would collect Richard Dickey at the same time. Nice job.
They're changing positions here as we go. Not sure who's right there in front of Knowles now.
I think that's the 71 of Richard Dickey.
He's dropped a little bit back, so the shuffling has definitely happened this lap. We'll see what they're where everybody lines up here the next time through.
Well, the interesting about Don Knowles, back when you would have 24-hour races in showroom stock competition, the old Escort Endurance Series, the old Motorola Cup and the like, at one point, he had more 24-hour race wins than anybody else on the planet. Obviously, Hurley Haywood and those guys eventually were able to put him together, but Don Knowles, he was an endurance machine, and he's proven, even as he gets a little bit older, that he is awfully impressive in these short sprint races as well. Like I said, 8 wins this year. Ooh, the 62 big lurid slide by Keith Jones out of Lorain, Ohio, in the Northeast Ohio region. Storage a go-go Mazda, and he went. Oh, tried to save it.
That's that really tricky turn number 6, and then you try to hurry up and get out of that sand trap, but it just sinks you and buries you in. The EV crews here are really good at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They'll cover him, hopefully hook him right up and pull him out, and he'll be back underway. He will lose a lap, but hopefully we don't have to go full course yellow if everybody can mind their P's and Q's in the safety zone.
Yeah, Seltzer has been able to keep Jackson within about a second. Jackson fairly comfortable right now, but everybody chasing those guys wouldn't mind maybe a little caution here to bunch things up and do a reset. But, you just want to keep going green and let everything settle cleanly that way here. As we look at Don Knowles, now up into 11th.
Yeah, one of my earliest memories was the longest hour, hours of Nelson Ledges. They're the 24-hour race, and watching Don Knowles, they run in the old IROC back in the day, and you leave the gas cap off. It created an engine code for an EVAC code, and would make the car go in limp mode. And he actually had the driver stop on the front straightaway, hopped over the wall, put the gas cap back on it, and kept going. Amazing stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And I remember watching him the 24 hours of Mosport for the Escort Endurance Series and the earliest World Challenge races up there. The guy's just a machine and has continued to impress. And look at this, just working the outside here. Maybe that was Bernacki got a run coming up on him here. Knowles trying to do a double here and sneak around both of them. He had a little bit more speed, but when you're trapped on the outside, there's just not a lot you can do.
Of course, the longest day at Nelson Ledges, my job was to bang the floorboard back down on the race cars when we went back paddock to change brake pads and brake rotors. So I wasn't old enough to be on pit lane, but that tells you what these cars and the drivers had to endure in these 24-hour long races back in the day.
Banging the floorboard back down.
Sitting with a sledgehammer.
Because of curb hits or what?
Curb hits and running off the road there at Nelson Ledges was not the smoothest of race circuits either. I think it's just actually, I read somewhere too, I believe that the track just got repaved, so that was pretty neat. But yeah, very nice. Bumpy track, a little worse than Sebring, some people said is what Nelson Ledges used to be.
Well, and look at this now. Knowles has gone around both the 71 of Dickey and was able to get back around the 34 of Bernacki, and now is attacking on Borodati, who's running in the 8th spot in that 56 machine. And just in front of him is the 74 of double Runoffs medalist, Ross Murray.
And of course, when you're 8 years old and your dad hands you a sledgehammer, maybe that was the best way for me to bang something without having to worry about it, getting any damage and anything done. But it was great to see this battle here as they go through, moving up here.
Yep, absolutely. And probably the more you did on that, the tireder you got, and the sooner you'd get to sleep. So that was probably their plan. Look at this, Knowles as Murray. I thought for a minute as Murray and Borodati had a little bit of a side by each run here. Looked like Knowles was trying to set him up for a run. The problem for Don right now is that every time he lays back to try and set something up, he ends up having the 34 Bernanke, that red Mazda, right on his 6 and in his mirrors.
Well, it's a lot hard. I saw a meatball flag there waving for somebody. Not sure who that was. And there's somebody dragging something. They're afraid it might fall off, or somebody's leaking some fluids. But when you see that meatball flag, it's a technical infraction. It was for somebody in this group of cars. But catching these guys and then getting around them is two different things.
Boy, Knowles trying to work that opportunity. You saw,
Dickey
even for somebody as experienced as Don Knowles, when he tightened that exit up to try and get down the inside, it killed his momentum. And Bernanke in the 34 able to get a good run. Knowles, I think, just a little bit more under the hood here at this stage. And oh boy, opportunity here, a double draft here. Bernanke going way out on his own here at this stage, and now Knowles tracking up with him.
Yeah, Knowles is just going to make a nice big loop as he opens up the wheel. Ross Murray protecting that inside, and the 56 of Borodati trying to look for that as Don Knowles trying to do the old over-under, pushes him off just a little bit. He'll keep his foot in it, though.
Yeah, Borodati, I'm sure now that's going to light Knowles up just a little bit, because he had established himself there, and Borodati just ran him wide. And nothing will anger you when you've worked hard and you've got yourself up alongside somebody, and as we like to say, established, and then they just run you to the edge of the track. That'll light you up a little bit. And Don, obviously, you can see, got crossed up. His tires got dirtied up. He's got work to do again.
Yeah, and he got a little bit loose there on the exit, and you can see how much that killed his momentum as one of the other cars looks like he had a problem there in the dirt. And Don Knowles trying to see if he can get to the inside. Oh, and it looks like Borodati having a problem.
I think he may have run wide there, and he lost the momentum, so a little bit of karma playing there, I think. And down to the inside as well, ducks Bernanke.
He's going back after the attack. I wonder if he thought maybe I pushed Don Knowles a little too hard there.
Maybe.
And that was his corner.
You know what?
Maybe I'll get out of it and let him have that corner.
This is club racing, and he may well have said, you know, that was a little unsporting. I'll let him back by, and we'll go back at it again.
And stewards will look at that and say, you know, that was probably a good decision on his part. There won't be any penalties there.
Absolutely. That's part of the club aspect. When you're out having fun with race cars, you know, the last thing you want is to get stewards involved. And the stewards don't want to be involved either. They just assume that it'd be a good, fun race. And when you auto-correct, if you will, that helps a lot. There is a look at the top three, and I'll tell you what, the 77 of Kelly Zarni has closed in. This is becoming a three-car battle at the sharp end of Turing 4. Just past halfway. We're going to sneak away for a moment. We'll be right back. Coverage of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs is presented by Mazda. Driving matters.
Every stitch is a part of me. All these shapes and designs express our devotion to craftsmanship. I want people to feel our passion when they touch it and when they drive it.
The all-new Mazda CX-5. Can you feel something without touching it? See something with your eyes closed. When everything is designed around you, the driver, you can. The Mazda 3.
And the battle continues as Don Knowles trying to work his way up. He has gone around a couple now and is now closed on the back of Mr. Murray. And that is a battle for the 7th spot. Look at the run he gets. He is so good through 10, and everybody knows it, so they protected the inside. But this time, Don got a great head of steam. Now Murray super deep on the brakes, was able to hang on here. But now, can Knowles trap him on the outside? The problem here is that Don knows if he tries to cut down underneath, he learned that the previous lap, if he cuts down underneath, it's going to kill his momentum, and now ends up on the curbing and in the dirt, and it kills that momentum. And around the outside goes Bernacki, but as I said, Knowles has some motor underneath that hood, and Bernacki knows it, immediately tucks back in. What is Knowles going to do to Murray? Two multiple national champions having at it here, heading down into turn one. Oh, he's down in the oil dry and the marbles and the like. Oh, he's dancing on the brakes. He didn't want to get in and hit anybody. Nice job by Knowles.
Yeah, Knowles actually gave him a lot of room there, and Ross gave him a lot of room.
Yeah.
A lot of respect with these two national champions as they're racing here for that battle in that 7th position now. And you got to think if Don Knowles could get around him, how far could he go? Or could he push Murray and do a breakaway here from Bernacki and Borodati? And
behind him, actually, Bernacki had to check up just a little bit, and Borodati wasted no time and clawed his way right back through. There is a good look at Borodati. Again, we talked about just the great run he's been able to put together here from 8th and staying right in that great battle in that position here in his Scion FRS 2016 vintage machine. Look at this. Knowles, real wide radius, trying to just work the outside. Beautiful move. And Knowles around the outside of Ross Murray, and that should now put him up into 7th. Now the question is he going to be able to drive away just a little bit here now that he's worked his way through? Crucial turn 10. Knowles using every ounce of the racetrack. He's been so quick out of 10 and through 11 here, and he does manage to gain 1, 2, maybe 3 car lengths here on Murray.
I can just hear those engines winding up and revving up. As a battle for 2nd now between the two teammates, the Dynasty Racing here. The Darren Seltzer over Kelly Zarni, and Kelly, she's doing a great job up here in the podium spot there in that 3rd place, and actually ran these two guys down in front of her, so she's going to try to see if she can get around Seltzer and maybe give something to Jackson.
Well, I mean, she made up, what, 3 seconds? So, I mean, that's just been remarkable what she's been able to do. And I know Seltzer would rather get silver than bronze, but if they're sort of teammates and Kelly is showing more speed, if she makes a move, you might think Seltzer wouldn't fight her too much here, because she looks like she might have something yet to be able to go after Oscar Jackson.
Yeah, that's the problem. You get behind your teammate or another car, and then you sort of lose everything. You're burning your tires off, and you might have had a chance to go give a run. So we'll see how this is going to play out. It could be one of those, hey, I'm going to be here for a little while, but I'll let you go by later now that I know that you're here. But Oscar Jackson, in turn, he could be controlling this race. You could say, you know what, I'm just going to keep a couple car length lead. No reason to burn my car off if they're not going to battle.
And let's get back down to pit lane. Hayward, what's up?
Yeah, a couple of notes on Dynasty Racing. First of all, the car that Kelly is driving had to have a motor changed over the weekend. It was a misshift on Wednesday that caused an over rev, and then on Thursday, that's the car that had the aforementioned block ventilation. The other note, Darren Seltzer is a 3-time national champion in SCCA autocross competition, including his rookie appearance. So that is a driver who's very good under pressure and also always a team player.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're good in autocross, Dorsey Schrader has said this a couple of times too, if you're good in autocross, you're going to be a good road racer. Doesn't necessarily work the other way around. And he is proving that making that step and qualifying 3rd here at the Runoffs, that's pretty remarkable.
There's a big list of autocrossers, most notably Randy Popes, who worked his way up all the way from autocrossing into a full factory professional ride. So definitely you get up on the wheel in autocross, you get up on there quick. And with these 19-lap races, 40 minutes, it happens really fast. You'd be surprised at how quickly that happens. So you got to have that autocross mentality to get it going.
Well, and one thing that autocrossers can do is they visualize lines exceptionally well, because they've got to pick the right line through just a series of cones. And if you can do that well, it makes a huge difference. And he is doing an absolutely superb job of that. Peter Cunningham, by the way, another guy who did fairly well in professional road racing after having a decent autocross career. Solo career.
Ice racing, everything else.
Well, everything, yeah. Oop, and they're coming up now in the back of some traffic. This is going to make things a little bit interesting here. Saw the number 64 in that mix. It's Seltzer, of course, as I said, just trying to work their way through some traffic here. Car in the background there is way offline, just has pulled off and stopped, so I think that's going to be an issue. Here's the battle right now for fourth, and it's snugged up again, hasn't it? These two guys have been glued together.
Yeah, Bethlen and Yonka, we're not sure which Mazda is going to be the better one here going into fourth place, but you never know what might happen if those leaders start getting side by side. This could be a podium battle for these two drivers here at the end.
Now, you just never quit because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, you're dealing with something mechanical. You can just have a mechanical issue, and you're dealing in a very competitive environment, so you can have contact and the like, so you just keep pushing. You never know where it's going to end up. Yeah, they're a bit behind that battle at the front, those top three. And those top three, Seltzer and Zarni, have been able to close it up just a little bit on Jackson here. Nice job there, the 88 Michael Dalton out of Skokie, Illinois, Chicago region, in the Norfolk Medical Pontiac Solstice, recognizing the traffic coming up and easing out of the way. Great to have him at the runoffs in that Pontiac. Had a podium in majors competition this year, so good for him. No answer just yet. Yonka just cannot find a way to get up and really mount an attack at this stage on the 20 of or on the 51 here. It's they're working hard though.
Well, the Touring CRB gets these cars matched so much with the parity of the different platforms and layouts and drivetrains that you really need somebody to kind of make a mistake or just be off a little bit on their setup. And when you talk about setups, there's not much you can do here. This is really the only class left that is back to the traditional showroom stock days. You can take the interior out, you add your roll cage, you add your safety bits, you put a set of race tires on there, you run a good set of G-Lock, Hawk, whatever brake pads you want to run on your car, and that's what you do. You add the safety equipment, and really there's really not much else you can do. You can remove the catalytic converter, you can run this exhaust, and that's really it. Stock suspension, you can maybe run a trunk kit as they call them, and you get different springs, maybe a stiffer sway bar to try to get the car sped up a little bit, but that's really traditional to that old showroom stock. What you get on the showroom floor is what you race out here on the weekend.
Oh man, right there, that's the 96 of Matt Miller in the Mustang, just trying to hit the disappear button, and did a nice job of it. Actually saw them come and dip the brake and let them slice through. But that's what makes it interesting. And you threw out a CRB, as a competition race board, and that's for, they have those for each, for touring, for GT, every category. Yep. They have one of those competition boards.
And it's usually made up of drivers that compete, so they can kind of give some input instead of just one person making that decision. It gives a choice over this. As we talked about that lead battle maybe heating up in that battle for fourth and fifth, and now it is heating up here.
Yeah, we saw them get caught in a little bit of traffic, and tell you what, there is virtually nothing between these top three. Nice move by Zarni to make sure that she cleared them as well. So I know I use this phrase a lot, but it's the proverbial blanket now over these three as we just completed lap 15, only 4 to go, and the margin first to third, 8/10.
Yeah, you can't even say 8/10 of a second as fast as it happens here on the track with these three cars. As Oscar Jackson Jr. has led flag to flag so far, trying to see if he can still get back around or keep it out front of Darren Seltzer and Zarni coming through.
And interestingly, I'm looking here, and suddenly, after that great drive, Don Knowles has gone completely missing here. Not sure what happened to him. He's sitting 34th right now. Ooh, Oscar Jackson, a long run off in the dirt. And that can have two consequences. One, it can slow you down, and it can also really tick off the guy behind you because all that dirt, debris, and rocks are coming up. And so you need to be a little bit careful with that.
Well, it slows you down as you exit the corner because you're not putting the power down. You got half of the wheel spinning, the other half on the asphalt. Secondly, it dirties up those left side tires. So when you go back to reload, put your weight on that tire, you're going to get loose or push off the track.
Well, let's see now whether any opportunity for Seltzer and or Zarni to be able to do something with it. Jackson able to ease away just a little bit. Gets down into that snug turn 12.
Well, Darren Seltzer using every little bit of racetrack there, right off on the outside there. Oh, there's Knowles back in 7th now.
All
so
right.
Must have had a transponder problem there. They got that reposted into there. We were wondering what happened there. As he did a 58.2, was the second fastest car on the track, with Bernacchi doing a 58.2 that previous time. The exact identical to the 1,000, 2:42 lap time on the 2.242 second.
Yeah, for Don now, he's got to come up with about 7 seconds to get to Kowalski, and a big move there. Zarni sneaking underneath and picking up second from Seltzer. Just a superb move. But boy, did Oscar Jackson get through traffic at the absolute optimal time. And look at this. Seltzer, as Kelly had to back off just a little bit because of that traffic, coming up, working the outside. Kelly staying put on the inside. Seltzer a little bit better exit speeds. Kelly right now is just going to go right to the apex here. She's still there, but Seltzer's going to have the inside through 6 in that double apex corner. And all of that and the traffic, Jackson suddenly has the biggest margin he's had in a few laps.
Yeah, that happens that quick. You saw that one corner. They just caught that traffic there. Oh, no, smoke out the back of Seltzer's car. And they've had, you talk about that engine problems that Hayward mentioned with this team. And hopefully that Scion FRS is not giving up the ghost.
Well, and that might be a real indicator here. If he's got some sort of an issue, will they be on the radio to their 2 drivers and say, he's smoking a lot, I'm quicker, let me through, let me see if I can go get him.
As you see, Seltzer, I believe, running, I think he's still listed as a Toyota 86, but you can see the smoke starting to come out of the center of that car now. Possible problems for him, but you can run your car as a Subaru BRZ, the Toyota 86, or the Scion FRS platform. Pretty much the same, just some different badges, maybe some different trim levels inside the accessories of your car. But Darren Seltzer doesn't seem to be too affected by that as of yet.
No, the smoke's getting more and more frequent, but it doesn't seem to be affecting performance. But well, I'll tell you, Jackson getting through that traffic before turn 1, and that traffic just parked Seltzer and Zarni. Zarni made that beautiful pass and just got parked. Nothing the traffic can do. I mean, they're racing hard for their positions out there, but suddenly that margin for Jackson, after having been down to under half a second, and actually way under half a second, is up to 2.
And you see the best thing maybe here with 2 laps to go. Can Zarni just tuck under that back bumper of Seltzer, trying to work the draft on every little straightaway here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway and see if they can catch back up to Oscar Jackson. That's going to be the only hope, I think, for Seltzer and Zarni if they're going to have a chance to get the gold here today.
Just getting word from Hayward in the pits that both Seltzer and Zarni on the same radio channel, so they can talk directly to each other. And right now, they're not racing each other. They're just trying to figure out a way to get back to Jackson as we have 2 laps to go. 1 when Oscar goes by start-finish next time.
Yeah, I see a fight in the wheel there. You can see the gloves moving and that smoke coming out of the back of Seltzer's car. More lap traffic as they come on. It depends on where they might catch it. Oscar was the beneficiary of that traffic before. He could be a sitting duck here for the 2 cars behind him, depending on where he catches this lap traffic.
Now, if that smoke coming out of Seltzer's car has a little bit of fluid, oil or whatever to it, it can really be affecting Kelly's visibility as well. Ooh, Fryer
looks like
really took a big hit there, didn't he? It's the 98, was running in 14th.
Yeah, -1 left rear wheel. Let's take a quick look at the replay here as he turns in. Oh, and it looks like he broke a hub on his Mazda MX-5. And, wow, that's what happens when you have a hub failure. And the wheel just flies right off. No clue, he loaded that side, and sure enough, there it goes. As you see, frantically pointing him back.
That was a wild ride. And keep in mind, there's going to be a yellow, at least a station yellow, and that's turn 1, which is one of the best passing zones. As we come out now, and the white flag is coming out. Oscar Jackson still has a sizable margin. Will he be able to clear this traffic comfortably before they get down to turn 1? Here comes Zarni again, taking a run at Seltzer. Jackson's going to do it again. Oh, but he can't.
No, they have to have those passes completed by the yellow flag with that waving yellow. And I think Oscar made that okay before you get to the flag station.
Yeah, I was looking upstream, and I did not see a yellow flag prior to that one. So if he got that pass made, you're right, he'd be okay, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it's to the flag, and then after the incident where you're not allowed to pass. And if you're well presented past or completing that pass, you're good to go for that pass there. It's, always questionable, but it looks like he made it okay.
Yeah, and he wanted to. He wanted to get that car in there. But I'll tell you, Seltzer and Zarni both able to work through that traffic fairly well. And that margin actually, I think, has gone down to about a second now between Jackson and Seltzer. And Zarni, a similar amount back. She's running just a little wide there. But this is it. This is for all the marbles. What can Seltzer pull out And is Oscar Jackson not a guy who's particularly prone to mistakes? You can see Seltzer just trying to shorten up any amount of racetrack he can here.
Yeah, trying to straight line it as much as he can. Not really worried about momentum going through the S's there. Just trying to increase those braking zones, roll into the corner, keep the RPMs up, keep the momentum going. He's really only going to have about one more shot to do it down here in turn number 12. And I don't think he's close enough to make that move.
Here we go through 11, up onto the banking, hard onto the brakes here. He's coming, he's closing. Jackson missing the apex just a little bit there. Well, I tell you, I don't know. I think I might have just straight lined right to the apex at 13 and just seen what happened.
I might have just tried it to see what was going to go on. 8 wheels stop better than 4.
And it's the run for the gold here.
But he got a good
boy,
run.
did he get a run. Drag race to the finish line. Jackson is going to hang on. But Seltzer, the margin of victory, nothing, really. And what a drive by Kelly Zarni as well.
Yes.
Doing a superb job. And there's a look at the 38 of Mr. Knowles. As we said, had a little bit of a fright when he suddenly disappeared. And he will be, it looks like, 6th as he crosses the line. Started in 4th, dropped outside of the top 20, probably almost into the top 30, and comes back with a 6th place finish. Well, let's check that. Nope, 6th place for Don Knowles. Absolutely fantastic. And wow, great job by Don. Good race for 4th between Blethen and Yanka, and Blethen able to hang on in the number 51 entry. That Mazda RX-8, so nice job there. But what a battle it turned into at the front between these three. And Oscar Jackson repeats. You know, there's always that extra pressure. You come in as the defending champion, and then you were the defending pole sitter. He got that done in qualifying, and then manages to put the win together. But I think this one was a little more fraught maybe than he was anticipating. What a great race.
And really focused on the T4 category as well. Beforehand, he was running in the STL and STU class last year. And he said, you know what, we're developing parts for this car. This is where my parts need to run on. I'm going to focus only on T4 this season. And it paid off with a 2nd consecutive national championship.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw Seltzer run up alongside and give him the big thumbs up out the window. Fierce competitors, but we saw the respect here, obviously, that they are racing with here, and Seltzer acknowledging what he was able to do. Kelly Zarni, just a superb run up to 3rd. And, of course, now these top 3 make their way around. They'll get waved past the turn into Impound and Tech, and they get to drive right up to the feet of Hayward Wagner, and that means an interview and then a medal draped around your neck. And
right
for this guy in particular, another lap.
Gets to do that victory lap, gets the checkered flag from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And you hang that on the wall or in the shop, and it's a memento you get to keep forever. Very special here. As you know, I think a lot of people here, including fans, the community here in Speedway, Indiana, the track, man, we're really hoping that SCCA decides to come back to this great facility with just a couple more times, at least in my driving career. I hope I get a chance to race here again to make it so special here as part of the SCCA National Championship runoffs.
Yeah, pretty amazing. It is indeed. And there goes Oscar Jackson for the 2nd straight year, heading to pick up a gold medal. Look at that. Seltzer thrilled, waving to everybody, acknowledging all of the SCCA members that fill so many of the specialties here at any kind of an SCCA race, but at the runoffs, it is the showcase of showcases for every specialty, and they do such an incredible job. Those pit marshals, grid marshals on the release side, and Toyota right in our faces, and that's exactly what Oscar Jackson wanted, and he is excited about this one. Actually going to step out of the car. That's a stretch before he does his victory lap, I guess, huh?
Pull that helmet off real quick. Yep.
Gets that off there and trying to get that helmet off, get him talk to, and I know Dad's going to be pretty close by there to celebrate his son's victory there and get a chance to me and Oscar got a chance to grow up together and racing Hondas with my dad and his dad back in the old Escort and Firehawk days, and working all the way up to World Challenge, and now here is the son, a multi-time national champion.
And he's with Hayward.
Oscar Jackson, sometimes racecraft means going fast, and sometimes it means following the rules. How hard was it to tuck in behind that slower car under waving yellow in turn 1?
Wow, that was a kind of a crazy race. We had some people go in real deep at the first corner, and we were just trying to figure out where to figure ourselves out. Lyman got knocked out at the beginning with some contact side to side. So, yeah, then it's been management the whole race. And then, yeah, coming down on the last lap, yellows everywhere and just, got to tuck in. So luckily, I think we got through there. But obviously, I lost the lead, my gap. And, yeah, that was tough.
First lap, as you said, there was a lot of chaos in turn 1. Don Knowles got turned around in 6. And then it looked like you and Chi got together in the S's. When he came in, he said just racing. What was your take on that one?
Yeah, I would agree. It was a racing incident in that sense. He got in real deep in turn 1. I saw the Dynasty boys group together and got me on the inside. I got jumped at the start, and I had to fight my way up, and so I was kind of sandwiched in between him. When he lifted, when he was out of position, he lifted in the exact wrong spot. I had nowhere to go, and yeah, good to hear that he agrees it's a racing incident.
Well, congratulations to you, 2 in a row. I know this means a lot to do it here, Indy, as a second-generation guy.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that repeat was going to be hard, and I got to thank everybody at Jackson Racing, BF Goodrich Tires. They even with the alignment knocked out, the tires held on the whole race, and it was really good. And then Toyota, they do a great job, with the cars, and yeah, everybody, KW Suspension, OS Geiken, CSF, Auto-Tune, Vitabri, Torque Oils. Yeah, everybody's involved is really helpful.
Congratulations to you. One more lap.
Thanks.
Yeah, get back in that car and grab that flag. Noticed his helmet. Is he trying to manage air inside the car over the helmet? He's got one of those open wheel type helmets on there. It just looks cool.
Yeah, it sure does. And you see that everybody's
Nice.
all hugs down there. Dad was down there. Pretty cool deal going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely it is. One thing about this type of racing, when you're part of the Sports Car Club of America, it is truly a family sport in many cases, certainly great camaraderie. Let's take a look now at our provisional results. Oscar Jackson with his second straight gold medal. Darren Seltzer, a great drive to the silver. Third, Kelly Zarni, a superb run up into the bronze medal position. Raymond Blethen hanging on in fourth after a great fight with a 20 of John Yanka. A resurgent drive to 6 by Don Knowles, then Ryan Kowalewski, 74 Ross Murray in 8th, the two-time champion, winning one earlier this weekend. Congrats to him. Thomas Bernacchi was in the wars the entire race, along with Felix Barati. They had some great racing as well. And then you can see Lance Stewart and Scotty B. White finishing 12th and 13th. James Evan right there in 14th as well. I mean, just some absolutely great racing wherever you looked.
Yeah, it really was. It was an exciting race. Exciting times in our Touring 4 category, and does not disappoint.
Not at all. And for Darren Seltzer, he certainly seemed pretty elated on his way down to speak with you, Hayward Wagner.
Darren, you looked pretty happy on that cool-off lap, but I know the first lap was a heartbreaker for you.
That was real tough, but man, what a close race. Just phenomenal. This Touring 4 class is full of great talent and really close competition.
Now, my understanding is that you and Kelly were on the same radio channel. Were you guys talking it up in those last couple of laps, trying to build a strategy?
Oh, you betcha. I was really impressed with her driving. She worked her way all the way up, bridged that gap, and we're able to try to work together. But unfortunately, lap traffic just got in our way, and I think together we could have had the pace for Oscar, but not individually.
Now, I know that you're always a consummate teammate. I know that Chi is one of your really good buddies. You had to hate to see him get turned around there at the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. When we saw him get turned, I go, oh, no. But then I saw Kelly made it through that mess in 6, 7, and 8, and I thought, okay, heads down, let's go.
Well, congratulations on his silver, your first Runoffs podium.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely great job. And, well, I'll tell you, what a composed guy, obviously, but gave it an absolutely stellar run. Had to. He had pressure from his teammate and knew what he had to do. I like that. And he said, when I realized that that Kelly was able to get through, just heads down, hopefully she can get to me and we can work together. You always have a plan. Doesn't always go to plan, but you always have a plan. And here's the plan for your double now gold medalist here, back-to-back for Oscar Jackson. But that great drive into third and a bronze medal goes to Kelly Zarni, a rookie at the Runoffs, and she earns a medal, Hayward.
A Runoffs rookie, a first-time podium, a bronze. You and Darren look like you had a really good strategy going, but talk to me about getting to that point. You really had to battle your way onto this podium.
It was really tough. I had to pedal my butt off after our big cluster there, first lap cluster, as I call it. I just saw them in my sights. I put my head down, focused in, learned everything, all my great coaches. Thanks to all my great coaches, my family. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to make it here, and then also to reel in those two guys. So it's awesome.
Well, a big congratulations to you. Upstairs, they're flipping through the record book as fast as they can. We don't think a female rookie has ever stood on a Runoffs podium before. You'll be the first to do it.
Wow. That's super exciting. Thank you.
Another record here at Indianapolis for SCCA's Runoffs competition. And I'll tell you, she is just absolutely elated and absolutely deserving. And I like the fact that she talked about, some of these drivers, when you're young and coming in, you've got a coach that works with you, and to be able to sit there and recall what they were telling you and be able to apply it, Jeff, that's very special stuff.
It is. It's one of those that you have to try to go through, and you see what she did. They're trying to avoid it.
Yep.
All those incidents, she went down here to the inside, just getting through as some contact made there. She recovered great, made it go through. Some of the great action we saw on the first lap, but all throughout this race. Don Knowles working his way back to the field was fun to watch, and here's that hub breakage there on the back of that Mazda MX-5 there. And wow, just exciting times. And how about this finish here to conclude the T4 National Championship?
Yeah, the official margin of victory, 16/100ths of a second. Absolutely superb race here in T4. And Oscar Jackson coming in and getting his second straight gold medal. That's going to wrap up our coverage here of the Run to the Gold in the Touring 4 category. For Jeff Lepper and Hayward Wagner, I am Greg Creamer. Thank you so much. But remember, folks, there's more to come here. Next race coming up is going to be a good one as well, and about as different as it gets. Formula 500. Stay with us. Coverage of the SCCA National Championship Runoffs is presented by Mazda. Driving matters.
Every stitch is a part of me. All these shapes and designs express our devotion to craftsmanship. I want people to feel our passion when they touch it and when they drive it.
The all-new Mazda CX-5. Can you feel something without touching it? See something with your eyes closed. When everything is designed around you, the driver, you can. The Mazda 3.